You, what going on? Hey. It's your boy back again with another one. I am really excited about this episode because I follow this creator, been following her for a while, and I love her work. There's a reason behind her work, which is important to me, and she takes you underwater, which I love, but she's going down in the depths where I don't go. So it's good to follow her stuff. Her editing is crisp and clear and a lot better than what we do. Um, you may not know her, but you need to get to know her. Go ahead and follow after this. But first, tune in here and listen to what she has to say. So I'm gonna bring her on. Better introduce yourself, but you know what we'll do right after this.
Nasty intro, son. Theater mode.
You like that? You like that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think it's a little epic. They're saying I'm breaking up. How am I coming in? Talk to me.
You're good now, but you were breaking up in the beginning, yes.
Okay. Well, what I was saying is basically that I've been following this young lady for quite some time. Her editing is crisp, clean, clear. Videos are amazing. And she takes you under the water, under the sea, like a real mermaid. And you're going to enjoy this. I'm excited. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Can you tell the people who you are?
My name is Julie Philbert, better known as SaltyLocs, the girl that takes you under the sea to see the things that nobody else see because you're too scared to get down there.
I won't say scared. It's just the equipment expensive, man. I can't afford it.
Hmm. A lot of people is like, "What are you doing down there? You ain't supposed to be there. You know, don't they have sharks?" Yes, it does.
Have you come
Yeah, man.
across one for real?
Of course, all the time.
So okay, so they tell you, right? The videos would say that you're supposed to like basically like touch them on the nose
You
or
know, you know that meme with the little boy in the car? Bullsh, bull. I ain't doing that. I cool with them, but ain't that cool.
so what do you do when you come across a shark when you're under there?
I sit and wait to see what it about to do. Most of the time, they're just chilling. You know, they ain't mean you no
Hmm.
harm. You know, most only time they could get aggressive, maybe sometimes when I spear fishing. And like I said, I wait to see what they're about to do before I take any action.
We gonna ask you the hard hitting in depth questions first, right? You're currently stationed in St. Croix, correct? But you're from St. Thomas.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, where got the best beaches?
You trying to start controversy so early, man?
It ain't gotta be controversial. This is your
Okay,
opinion.
well, okay, so we're talking Virgin Islands, then we're gonna say St. John. St. Thomas is next
Okay,
after
okay.
St. John.
You've also lived in Florida for a while. What? How many different places have you dived? I don't know what's the correct term for this.
I've dived in Florida, different parts of Florida, on the Gulf side, Atlantic side.
Hmm.
I've dove in St. Thomas, I've dove in St. John, St. Croix. I've done Dominica as well. Cayman Islands and Bahamas.
Which one has the best diving, and what was the deepest dive you've done?
Best diving, I St. Croix is up there. St. Croix is up there. I ain't gonna lie. Um, I would say Dominica
Well,
next. Dominica has really colorful reefs, and they have wall diving, just like you have wall diving here in St. Croix.
mhm.
The deepest I've been is like 133 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the recreational limits. I'm a recreational diver. So
When you watch your videos, right, you could tell that a lot of work goes into it, and you see in some of your clips, it's like you have a dive team, like a professional dive team, like what went after Jaws. So what's that about? Like who you out there with?
listen, I dive with my family and friends. So I'm out there with my brothers. I'm out there with my son. I'm out there with my fiance. I'm out there with diving buddy friends. Whoever wants to go out with me is out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you gotta have time, patience, and some money if they rocking with you
Oh
to
yeah. Oh
roll
yeah.
with them.
I
Okay.
mean, once you do that initial investment on the equipment, it's easy breezy after that.
Does it last pretty long, the equipment, or no?
Yes, yes. So as long as you take care of it. As soon as I'm done with a dive, we have to rinse our gear in fresh water. So I let
Mm.
it soak in fresh water, hang it up, let it dry, and then we're ready to go again.
There's a particular fish that you have put its back, right? What do you
You're gonna have to repeat that question again. I heard a particular type of fish, and then I didn't hear anything else.
why do you hate lionfish?
Why do I hate lionfish? I don't hate lionfish. I love lionfish.
You keep ending them. You keep ending them. Why is that?
All right, let me explain something about lionfish. Lionfish do not belong in these waters. Lionfish are originally from the Indo-Pacific area. They are invasive to the Atlantic, Caribbean, all the places that you see people killing them. They do a lot of harm to the reef. Basically, they have no predators, and they are pretty much top predator when they get into invasive waters, because nothing knows how to kill them. They're not interested in them. So there is no sharks eating lionfish. There is no barracuda eating lionfish over in these waters, right? So there's nothing to keep them in check. They reproduce like crazy. They literally can spawn 2 million eggs a year. They can release eggs every 3 to 4 days, and they only have to be like a year old to start doing that. So whereas other fish maybe have to be 3 years old before they can, you know, reproduce, and they probably reproducing once a year, lionfish literally can do that 3 to 4 days, and it's thousands of eggs. Now all the eggs don't
Jesus.
make it, but you know most of them do. So like literally one lionfish can um, let off 2 million lionfish in 1 year. And if you don't have anything to keep it in check, you can imagine how crazy that can get.
So it's like they were created to basically invade and take over then.
You could say so. The theory is that they were part of the exotic pet trade, and somebody let them out. Like maybe someone didn't maybe they outgrew the tank or something, and they let them out, and basically they wreak havoc since then. And they've slowly since the 1980s been spreading from like Florida on down, all around the Gulf of Mexico. They're in the Mediterranean now, taking over there.
Are there bounties on them to control the population or anything?
There were in the beginning. Now it's more so they do tournaments and derbies. They try to make incentives, to catch lionfish. The thing is, it's not like a regular fish that you could send a pole, like fishing line. You don't catch them that way. Like somebody actively has to be in the water, taking them out with a pole spear.
With these tournaments and derbies, is it working to keep the population in check?
It helps, but I don't think we'll ever get rid of them.
Mm. What can they do, being that they reproduce so quickly and so much? What can they do, or what do they do to the marine ecosystem?
Well, they basically take over the native fish. They eat the baby snapper, the grouper, the lobster. They eat a lot of stuff. So you could imagine those things are not getting a chance to grow, and lionfish are taking over. So especially parrotfish, right? They eat parrotfish. Parrotfish are essential to cleaning up the algae off the coral and keeping the coral healthy. So you reduce the population of parrotfish, you throw off the balance.
So we have some clips from your TikTok that I'd like to show, because it kind of explains better than either one of us could. So
Okay.
this is you doing your catching, and then what you catch, you prep for
Yes.
later.
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you kind of tell us the transition, what was going on in this particular edit?
Well, I think those are actually some clips from the St. Croix Lionfish Derby, where it was a contest that we did to basically who's the top gun, the lionfish community here. um, so basically, I go dive in, find the lionfish, use my pole spear, pull them up, put them in the container that you see is called a zookeeper. It's a lionfish containment unit. There's another one called a lionfish locker. Some people make their own out of like big water jug bottles. But basically, it's just to keep yourself from getting poked, because there are 18 venomous spines on the lionfish, and you don't want to get touched by those. So we put them in something to prevent that, get them up on the boat. Once I get them home, I clean them, scale them, which doesn't take much. Sometimes fillet them, sometimes keep them whole, and then do whatever I please with them. They're really good fish. They taste really good, and you can pretty much do anything you want with them. They kind of take to whatever you want to do to them. Fry, blackened, grilled, you name it.
If lionfish tastes so good, why aren't we seeing it more, like in the restaurants, on the menus and stuff?
Supply and demand. The like I told you, it's not like other fish where you can just drop the net, or stick a rod and reel down and get them. So somebody has to actively go down there and seek them out, in order to supply the restaurants. So not just that, there's also a lot of miseducation. People think they're poisonous, so some people are not even willing to try them. you know um, Speaking to a restaurant owner recently, they stated the same thing. The demand isn't there, and keeping the supply is hard. I'm
Is it
hoping to
because
change
we
some of
we
that
don't
though.
know? Is it because we don't
I
know any better?
Yeah, and that's part of why I'm doing what I do. I want to get the word out. It really is
Okay.
good. They are not poisonous, they're venomous. So, and you can, so that can you can only be affected by getting poked. So
Mhm.
basically, don't get poked. You know, and,
Okay.
and 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 also another thing, the restaurants also don't want to deal with cleaning them. So you would have
You
to
said it
get
was easy to
somebody.
clean them though.
I think it's easy to clean them. I've done enough for them to, but some people don't want to take the risk.
All right. Explain the difference, please. What is the difference between venomous and poisonous for the people listening so we could understand?
I have a very good video on that, but since you ask now,
Yeah.
poison is by ingestion.
Mm-hmm.
Venom is through like a sting or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
there are 18 of those spines on lionfish. There are 13 on the top and a few distributed on different places on their body. So before you even start messing with lionfish, you need to know that. Know exactly where they are so that you can avoid them, right? Um, they you can clean them like any other fish. The easiest way would be to cut off all those spines. So you take a scissors, you cut those spines. On your table now is a regular fish that you can fillet or whatever, the same way you would do any other, right? Or for me, because I do it so much, I leave the spines on there most of the time, and I fillet. You know, if I'm keeping it
What?
whole, I cut
Uh-huh.
them off, and then I gut it and clean it. But if I'm filleting, I don't have time
Okay.
to cut spines and then fillet the fish. Listen, we caught 140 during the St. Croix
Mm-hmm.
Lionfish Derby. Do you really think I sat and cut all those spines off? No, there was a lot of work to be done, and I needed to do it as quickly as possible.
So okay. So hold up. 140 you caught. How many you took back to the house?
140.
So they don't they don't take none like the
They do, they
so
do. They ask for donations, and we didn't donate ours. That's all.
what did you do with 140 venomous fish?
I cleaned them, and you saw the video, zip vacuum sealed, ready to be cooked whenever I'm ready to go. Some have been given away to other people. People have asked, So I didn't keep like all of them, but I did clean all of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Majority of them is in my freezer.
Are you considering a Salty Locks restaurant?
Restaurant, probably not. But I
No?
am considering trying to supply local
Okay.
restaurants.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if the supply is there, we just need to get the demand up. And
Right.
I guess we're doing our part right now.
Right.
Tanya Christian Finley says, I wouldn't and couldn't eat it. Why not? Tell
Why?
us why. We need to know why now. Now that you come and you're doing things,
Right.
tell us why.
What's the
Uh,
reason?
JP Davis say, all right, good thing they taste so good. Salty Lots not only is a lionfish serial murderer, but she's dope on the kitchen, coming up with creative ways to make yummy dishes. Now we do have a clip about that, and we're gonna see if we could get her to give us a recipe. All right, because you have a favorite recipe we talked about. We're gonna see if she's gonna give us that right after this.
Attends, stop. Ça va péter.
Mm.
So what I talking about? About the
Blackened, see?
editing and
Yeah.
it look good, right?
Thank you.
But JP had talked about the coconut dipped one, and that's the
Mm.
recipe that the people gonna want. That's your favorite, right? Or that's the people them favorite, I
That's the
should say.
people them favorite. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so can you tell us that one?
So I'll have to give you probably after this, but basically is basically a
Uh,
variation of coconut shrimp. It's the same thing. It's just using lionfish meat. So you batter the fillet, the piece. I cut them up in whatever size that I want it to look like. I batter it, wet batter, dry batter, um, some panko breadcrumbs and coconut flakes, and fry it. And then you make a nice dip to go with it, and you can't beat that.
That's what's up. It sounds good. I don't understand why we ain't eat, but it requires more than regular fish to get to. Is that what I'm
Yeah,
understanding?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense then. What do you need to increase the demand, you think?
I think partially just education. You know, try to take that fear out of the reasoning that it's poisonous. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It has to be available for people to actually try it. So hoping to change that up.
JP selling it. Then she tops it with Chick-fil-A sauce and uses tostones as a little sandwich. You hear that?
That's a Tostones burgers.
I'm sold already. Say less. You had me at Chick-fil-A sauce, man.
Chick-fil-A. That's it. That's all it take, right?
Yeah, I'm sold. Now, when I was watching these things, I'm like, this gotta be what she does every day, all day. But no, you are not a marine biologist. And then I
Okay.
look at your profile and it says marine educator. So what is it that you do on your off time, if there is such a thing for you?
Off time.
You see?
During the day, my day is occupied doing IT work. IT work
Hmm.
mainly. I also do work payment processing here on the island. SaltyLocs payment processing. So we
Can you
help
give us a
businesses. Yeah, we help
uh,
businesses basically take other forms of payment other than cash and provide them with low rates. Don't swindle them. Um, you know, keep them in up to date equipment
mhm.
and basically take care of them. There was a need here. The companies in the states were the only locally owned payment processing company. So the companies in the states come down here and they basically was doing what they want with us and our businesses. Real talk.
Always.
Putting people in leases, um, giving them old equipment and making them pay for it way past the price that it costs and stuff like that. So we came down here to change that.
What does someone that wants to get into basically following your footsteps, what do they need to know
With what? With diving?
as far as like with diving?
I mean, listen, our greatest resource is right outside, right? We can't go anywhere and not see the water, right? So
Mm.
I know there's a lot of people who can't swim. So that would be first step. you know,
Which is a shame, but
yeah, unfortunately. But there are resources for that. We have people who teach swimming, and it's never too late. I had a friend that was 30 something and decided that she didn't want to have a fair water anymore, and she started going to the YMCA and took lessons, and now she's swimming laps in the pool. So it can be done. You just have to
mm,
face that fear. Um, Now, to start diving does require certification because I mean, you're risking your life. If we're going to be real about it, we're risking your life. You're going underwater using equipment to breathe. So you need to know what you're doing. So that requires education. But it's not that big of a deal in the sense of nobody can do it. It's there and it's available. We have plenty of dive shops on the island. Basically, you do your coursework, you meet up with an instructor, they introduce you to the water and the equipment in a pool first, get you comfortable, and then you do your dives in the ocean. Um, and there's different specialties. You can do wreck diving, you can learn how to control your buoyancy better, you can learn about navigation, You can get into technical diving, which takes you even deeper. You can learn how to be a cave diver. There's so many options, you know, but it's all about, you know, having that curiosity to even go there.
Now, I hope nobody was offended by me saying it's a shame that you don't know how to swim. Now, the reason why I say that is, for one, because it's a shame. Like, especially if you live on an island, you're surrounded by water literally. You should learn, right?
For sure.
Two, it's a life skill, like cooking, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. I'm not saying that you need to learn how to build a house, or that you need to know how to create a spear fishing setup from the trees, but swimming, that's like, it's a life skill for you that you should learn. Are there any plans in the works of maybe instructing? Do you instruct?
I'm not an instructor. I'm a dive master, so I technically could work on the boat and do guided dives and stuff like that. If I want to be an instructor, I'd have to go through the coursework. That would be the next level. It's something that I've thought about. But right now, if somebody is certified to dive, I have no problem going out with them. Maybe teach. Some people sometimes are interested in learning how to spearfish. I do that with people too.
Is it difficult to learn how to spearfish? You ain't just point and click. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot because you have to understand you're already doing a lot just by diving, you know, so you start
Mm-hmm.
adding extra things, you take more risk, right? You have to
Okay.
learn with spearfishing too. There's regulations on certain things, right? You can only catch a certain amount of this fish during this time of year. Sometimes there's seasons, like, you know, right now mutton snapper is off limits. Um, right in the Virgin Islands, lobster is year round, but in Florida, there's no catching of lobster right now until August. Right? They cut it off on at the end of March. So those are things you need to learn. You need to learn fish behavior. That's how you catch them, right? You have to understand where you're gonna find them. Um, just understanding
Fish
fish.
behavior, you say?
Yeah, yeah, fish behavior.
So I
You'd be
don't just
surprised.
put food there and then
No, man.
wait.
You understand that we are in the water with them. You think they just like listen.
Yeah.
Okay, so for instance, grouper, and it's not all grouper, but grouper will look at you, like, bloop, 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 you know, and you just shoot them. Some of them,
Do that
depending.
again. Do that again.
There's
Okay.
a fish called hogfish.
Mm-hmm.
They have a limit on hogfish, and they had to change the regulations. Like in Florida, they had to change the regulations over a certain time. They had to make it where, because before it was 12 inches, you could get them at 12 inches. Now they have to be 16 inches, and you can only get two for the day. Before it was like, you know, I don't remember the number, but like let's say it was 10. Now you can only get two because they are so, what's the word, trusting maybe. I could literally point a spear at them and they'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, you know. So there's
Okay.
regulations to keep them from being overfished, right? So those are things you have to learn. You know, it's hard to tell that something is 16 inches. So that
That's what I
comes
was
with
wondering.
time.
Like,
That comes with time. And you know, water makes everything look bigger, right? So
exactly.
so
Pause.
those are
But
things
go
that you
on.
develop over those are things you develop over time, and it's dangerous. I mean, you
Yeah.
have live bait on you, right? So then you have to worry about predators, right? So it's not, I wouldn't say it's simple. It's not super hard because like you said, it's still a point and shoot, you
Mm-hmm.
know, situation. But there's different types of guns, there's different types of ways to rig the gun, you know, so it's a big deal.
Jeez. Yeah, these I did not know it was all these rules, regulations, and stuff. It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
definitely a lot to think about. So I'm glad that you know it, so you could tell us, because I would have just gone in the water.
And they'll start
But
shooting, right? And
that's
like for
like
instance,
six.
the hair, they you can't shoot parrotfish in Florida. There's no regulations here, but we just for morality purposes, if you want to
Uh-huh.
say, I don't shoot parrotfish because they're important to the reef.
JP says spearfishing isn't necessarily dangerous. What makes it dangerous is inexperienced people. Would you agree with that? Somebody
That
pull
can
a,
definitely be true.
friendly fire. Is
Oh
that what we're
man,
concerned about?
it is a concern. It is a concern. It's always a concern. But
Okay,
just like regular gun usage, you don't point at something you don't intend to
true.
shoot, right? So those are things you need to learn.
You see, now that you're talking about it, I'm in here, I'm really picturing it because it's one thing to do it online, right? It's another
Mhm.
thing to do it while swimming and holding the gun and
And hold it
wow.
right, right. And if you're like me, I'm like a Swiss Army knife. Sometimes I got my lobster
Hmm.
snare hanging. I got the pole
Jesus.
spear for the lionfish. I got a spare gun in my hand. I like prepared for
Mm,
anything that I come across.
you like the on the water Rambo around here. I like that. Okay.
Sometimes.
JP says Salty Lot seems to attract sharks to her a lot. Seems like a lot more videos with the damn sharks.
Recently, yeah, definitely
You got
more.
any stories about sharks for us?
Oh, do I have stories about sharks? Of course I do.
What's the best one? What's the one you love to tell?
The best one would have to be, and I have a video on this. It would have to go back a little bit. It's probably 2 years old at this point. But my nephew who was on the boat. We went out spear fishing, me and my family, and we were out on the boat and we ran into a hammerhead shark. Now we were spear fishing, so you have to, you kind of keep your eye on it. It's in the vicinity. It was kind of circling us, but circling wide, close enough for us to see, but not close enough to feel like it was a direct threat. But it was the first time he had ever seen a shark. And at this time, my nephew was probably maybe 16. I had just got him certified maybe a year before. So like I said, it was his first time experiencing a real shark because we see nurse sharks all the time, but nurse sharks are like puppies. We don't really pay no mind to them. But the hammerhead shark, and it was pretty big. I want to say it was between 6 and 7 feet long. So he saw it and he kind of freaked out. At first, he didn't know it was there, and I was trying to get his attention to let him know. And the fish that he had in his hand, he dropped it. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I went to go pick up the fish because we don't give free meals around here, right? We don't give away free meals. Now, if a shark, if I see like a shark is agitated and it seems like it's about to attack me, I don't have a problem letting go of the fish. But we're not just gonna lay a fish down for the shark to come eat because then it thinks we're gonna supply food, and we don't do that over here. So I went to go pick it up, and he looked at me like, and that story back on the boat was the best. His commentary he was like, his tattoo said fair none, but he was like, fair none, I gonna take this tattoo off and say fair sharks. It was hilarious. You have to watch that video because he was going crazy. He was like, my mother tell me not to come up here.
I gotta go back and watch that one. Then I gotta look for it
That
now.
man, that's the best one.
What would you like to tell the audience listening right now? What would you like to tell them as far as what they need to know concerning lionfish as a whole? Because that seems to be the premise, like the main premise of the content you create. So, what do you want to tell them?
I mean, yeah, it has become the main premise because, like, here in St. Croix, there's just so many of them. I take my pole spare with me on every dive because I know I'm likely going to run into some. Um, so I'm prepared for that. People just need to be aware that they're in our waters. They're probably here to stay. In order to keep the numbers down and to keep our reef ecosystem going the way it should, there needs to be a demand in the restaurants. Ask the restaurants, hey, when you plan on serving lionfish, so that they could start seeking out ways to get that in the restaurant, because I promise you it really is a good fish. It's not fishy. It's a very mild flavored fish, and it is palpable to any way you want to cook it. So Get out there, try it if you get a chance. I promise you, you won't regret it, especially if you like seafood.
Are you gonna put the coconut lionfish recipe in the comments after this?
I will.
Awesome. All right. What are your final words for the audience, man? And also, can you list your social media so people know how to get in touch with you and whatnot?
Yeah, I'm on pretty much all the major platforms. On YouTube, SaltyLocs, SaltyLocs. On TikTok as well, the same thing. On Facebook and Instagram is SaltyLocs Adventures, because SaltyLocs was taken. um, I think that's it for the social media area. Yeah.
Fine. Okay. And final words. Let's say final words for diving overall. Going in the water. How do you educate the people on that?
About going in the water?
People might want to see this and then jump in the water, right? Especially if they live on an island. After seeing this, grab a spear, a tank, and go. So, what are your educational tips as part of your final words for that?
Well, you can't just grab a tank, because if you go in a dive shop, they're going to need to see your credentials. But I mean, if somebody wants to get in the water, nothing's really stopping them from getting a spear gun and getting a mask and snorkel and free diving. Because free diving is, any man's territory. That you could do that too. It's a little harder, in the sense of you gotta learn how to hold your breath and all of that stuff. But it's doable. But basically, get out there, man. Reach out to a dive shop if you're actually interested in diving. Reach out to a dive shop. Tell them you want to. You can even do the Discover Scuba, because Discover Scuba, you're not holding yourself to take in any class, but you just get to try it. See if it's even something you're interested in doing for real. You get to put the tank on your back, get the jacket on, breathe through the thing for real, and see if it's something you would enjoy.
All right. Should we be scared of sharks?
No, you shouldn't.
No.
No. Sharks. I know this probably is not something you would expect me to say, but I mean, I'm going in their environment, right? They probably more curious to know what the heck I am making this noise, breathing. That's the noise I'm making the whole time I'm down there. Like I said earlier, you have to learn behavior of animals. So most of the time, I am not worried about sharks because they don't present a threat to me. I'm not saying it's never happened, because I do have a video recently where we were on French Cap in St. Thomas, and there was a very aggressive reef shark, the most aggressive shark I have ever dealt with personally. I had just got a big lionfish, and I think the movement of the lionfish, because it wasn't like a kill shot, so I didn't put it out right away, and I think that movement from the lionfish kind of alerted that particular shark, and that's okay most of the time, but this shark was not having it. It kept coming towards me, and it was relentless. That's literally the first time I've ever had to deal with a shark that was really just that persistent and keep coming towards me. Most of the time, they'll swim by, you'll see them in the distance, they never really come in, or if they come in, they'll come in and make a sharp turn the other direction, within a couple feet of you, and never come back. So it's just a matter of learning the behavior and understanding whether you're in danger or not. You're usually not.
Okay.
Especially if you're only diving, you add spearfish into it, then you might need to be a little bit more cautious, right?
Because of the blood in the water. Is that what we're saying?
Blood in the water, and mostly the movement from the fish.
All right.
That's why you like to aim for the kill shot. Kill shot, take it out so that you don't have all the vibrations going through the water.
Tell us what a kill shot is.
A kill shot is basically you hit the fish in a spot that completely knocks it out. So
So what's
you'll
the
hit
target?
huh?
What are we
They're
going for?
different in
What are we
every
aiming for?
fish. They're different in every
What?
fish. It's mainly in the head area, but like
Fish don't even die the same?
there's a lateral line on fish that like is basically like their spine.
Mm.
So that's really what you're aiming for most times. Makes it a little bit more difficult, right? Moving target and you have to
Yeah,
hit a spot. Yeah,
listen,
exactly.
I'm gonna be honest, right? I didn't expect all these rules and regulation about hunting fish
There are.
because mostly when you hear about people fishing, is the one that just sitting up there drinking a beer or something,
Right.
and he threw out his line and he's saying
And
no.
you
So I'm
right.
thinking, you got a spear gun now. You got a gun, my
Mm.
boy. All you gotta do is
Sometimes you have to chase them, they're running away. Like mutton snapper. Mutton snapper, they'll see you and pew, they'll go the other direction. They don't stick around, you know. If you get close enough to a fish, you have to take the shot and try to hope is a good one. The worst shot to get is in the tail, because then you're gonna have something flapping around, and you don't want that.
mhm. There's a spear. If I might be tripping. If when I watch your videos, you use a spear thing that it look like it kind of spring out. Even it don't just go straight through them. It look like I don't
So
even know
that
how
the one
to
that I
explain
use
it.
for lionfish,
What is that?
yeah, that's a pole spear. So it's basically a spear. It's a straight pole, right? And at the end
Mm-hmm.
has the head that would go into the fish. On the other end, which is what I have in my hand, is a rubber band, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a band. You put your hand, the band goes here on your hand, and you stretch your hand all the way up to the other end of the band. And so when you let go, that's propels the spear forward. So that's
All
what
of
I
this
use on
sounds exhausting.
lionfish.
All of this sounds exhausting. I gotta be honest. Like the more I think about it and picture it, is like at some point I'm gonna forget to breathe. Like I gotta do all these
Right, and
things.
that's why you need to be comfortable diving before you add something like spearfishing onto your agenda.
Makes
But you
sense.
see, with the pole spear that I use with the lionfish, it has 3 prongs on it. That's to keep the lionfish from spinning around. If I was to shoot the lionfish with a regular spear gun, it only has the shaft that goes straight through the
Mm-hmm.
fish. The
Yeah.
lionfish is going to be spinning around, and then I have to worry about where the spines are and getting it contained and getting it off the spear. It's not a good look. So that's what the pole spear is for. We use that to keep them stable. You shove them inside the zookeeper and move on to the next one.
Okay. I listen. What I've learned today is sharks. I just picture sharks as kind of like I imagine them as kind of me if somebody just walked into my house, if a
Into your
piece of
house.
steak just walked into my house, like you know what I'm saying? And what I always wonder what they're thinking because of course you'd be curious, but I understand why they would get aggressive. You get what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah,
live
yeah,
here.
yeah.
What is this?
What are you doing here?
So think
Yeah.
about it like that. And
Yeah, but
also,
they're
you gotta
they're
respect
not.
the life. So you say,
Definitely have to respect the underwater life, man.
JP
But
says
I did,
differently.
huh?
JP
What?
says
Oh,
differently about you when it comes to sharks. But go on.
about me? What I do?
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like
Oh,
when
that
he
I
with
attract
you,
them?
yes, he's in fear, but you
I
don't
mean,
care.
we see sharks a lot more frequently these days. I mean, it just could be a byproduct of spearfishing, right?
True.
You go to the wall, Cane Bay Wall, you're guaranteed to see a shark. They out there.
Mm.
I go
Stay
on a
away.
regular beach dive. I might see a shark and I might not, but you guaranteed to see one over at the wall. But I
What's
did a shark dive on purpose that helped
on
me. I
purpose?
mean, I was already okay with sharks, but it did help in the way I thought about them.
What
Yeah,
does that mean? What is a shark dive?
basically I went on a dive boat that baited sharks. They basically had like yesterday's catch inside of the milk crates. They had like pieces of fish inside of a milk crate to kind of put the basically chum, basically chum, right? They
Okay.
quote unquote chum the water, and they were
Mm-hmm.
also making noises because apparently sharks are attracted to noises as well. So like if you're knocking, tuck, 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 yeah, that. So they basically brought in lemon sharks. And there was about 5. I have a video on that too. There was about 5 lemon sharks swimming right next to me. I mean, one bumped into my leg and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But on a regular
Testing you.
basis, I actually have a shark band on my foot. It's usually on my right foot, on my ankle. So the concept behind that is electromagnetic band that basically emits these waves that detract sharks. Now I don't bet my life on it, but it's a extra repellent, right?
I think I seen something like that on Shark Week. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. It's something that was on Shark Tank a couple years back, and they if you go on their webpage, they'll show you that they basically strap the band onto a dummy and even chum the water too, and they show you the difference of when the dummy has a band on versus when it doesn't. Now, can I say 100% works? Probably not, because a shark wouldn't have come as close to me as it did, But I have had a lot of sharks come towards me and take a rapid turn away very often, So I have to say that,
we're going to believe it's that. All right. Okay.
I only got one because I went on a dive boat with a commercial spear fisherman. We had chartered out with a commercial spear fisherman, and he had them on his boat. And I figure if somebody who does this for a living uses shark band, then maybe it's worth something, So it's just an extra layer of protection.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's better to have it than not, right?
Than not, correct. And it don't bother me none having one thing on my ankle, It's not heavy. It's just like a regular bracelet type of situation.
She out here like them white folk on Shark Week, people. You heard it there first. On that note, my final words, basically, respect the life, no matter where you are, whether you're on land or in the water. Try something new. We're only getting older, right? Try something new, but do it with respect. Learn how to swim. Black people, I'm looking at you. Learn how to swim. But with that, that's SaltyLocs. I'm Ja. This is Same Difference. We appreciate you. We love you. Peace.
We out.